document, so 17 by 11 or 11 by 17, 300 ppi and CMYK. Those specifications are on your assignment instructions. I can see that I have these rulers up here along the top. If you don't see those, you go up to View and check off Rulers and they will appear for you. Okay, so we need to set up our 4 quadrants so we can have our image separated 4 times or duplicated 4 times, but make sure that it's evenly spaced. So if I look between 0 and 11, which is the height of my image, halfway between 0 and 11 is 5.5. So we got to do a little bit of math here. I'm going to click and hold. So click and hold up on that top ruler and drag down. And when I get to 5.5, let go. And then I have this blue guide for me that won't print or anything. It's just there as a guide for me. And then coming on the width, I've got the total is 17. So halfway between 0 and 17 is 8.5. So I'll go to 8.5 along the top, let go. And there I can see that I've split into 4 equal sections. Now what I need to do is bring in my picture and space it evenly on these 4 quadrants. And we're going to also create some folders to keep ourselves organized along the side in our layers panel. So I just have, I'll just grab any image here. It doesn't actually matter. You would have your image already selected and found online. So here's the car from our practice exercises. I'm going to resize it so it fits the way I want it to in my quadrant. If you want it to be sort of zoomed in or whatever, that's fine. You can do that and just make sure that it's the same for all of your various quadrants. So I'm going to leave it there and press enter, and I'm going to be able to go over top of this part when I actually start duplicating it. So I've got it once there. I'm going to click over on my layers, and I'm going to go up to duplicate layer. Now, to keep myself organized, I'm going to say car top right and rename it. I press OK. So now I see I've got another one. And our first instinct is to say, OK, well, I made it, but where is it? I'm going to click on my Move tool. And now if I move it, I can see I have another one directly underneath. Okay, I'm going to line it up exactly the same way with some overlap along the bottom because that's how I like it spaced here. When I'm done, I press Enter. I'm going to do the same thing again. Right click on my layer, duplicate. Now I'm going to say car bottom left and OK. Same thing, grab my move tool and I'm going to move this one to the bottom left. Okay, again, making sure I'm doing a little bit of overhang, same way as I did on the top ones. Notice I don't have to worry, it's already going over top of those other ones, so it's hiding that overlapped space. And then lastly, duplicate again and do bottom right. After I do this, I'm going to set up some folders so that I can keep myself organized here. So I've got each of these layers, but once I start adding in other images, say I really zoom in and I'm working on my bottom right quadrant, you know, when I start adding other images in, I'm going to have a lot of different layers that might correspond to this picture, and it can get really confusing if I don't stay organized. So I'm clicked on my bottom right image layer, and I'm going to click down on the bottom. At the bottom of our layers panel, it looks like a file folder, and if you hover over it, it says create a new group. I'm going to click on that, and it gives me a folder, and right now it's called Group 1. I'm going to double click on the word Group 1, and I'm going to call that bottom right, and then press enter. Now, any picture that I bring in that's associated with this bottom right quadrant in this car, I'm going to place in this folder. And you place things in the folder by clicking on the layer and dragging it up over top of that. And now I can see it has an indent. And I've got this little arrow that I can open or close everything in that folder. So my suggestion is, whichever quadrant you're working on, close all the folders of the other 3 quadrants so you're just focused on everything that's in that section. I'm going to do the same thing. Click on car bottom left, click on my make a new group button, double click, call this bottom left, press enter, and then drag my car bottom left picture into it and close it up. And then I'll do the same thing for these last ones. Drag it in, click on that, This one is, oh, I didn't name the other one correctly. This one's top left. In. And this one I didn't do correctly, so I'm going to double click again. This one's actually top right, not bottom right. And there we go. So now whichever quadrant I want to work on, so I'm working on bottom left, I click on it, I can move over to my bottom left. There we go. Add in file, place embedded, add in new images and everything, and keep everything in that folder.